Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Helen with One Structural, and today we're doing a Balcony1 webinar, keeping it general, all about SB326 and SB721. My apologies in advance. I'm a little under the weather, but feeling kind of okay, but might be sniffly here and there. If you have any questions, please just pop them into whichever way. I think on your right maybe is the chat box, and I will try to get to them. Of course, too, you can reach us at 323 Balcony for any questions that you may have. All right. So I'm going to share my screen to give our presentation, a PowerPoint, to just go over basically all the basics about SB721 and SB326, which are the mandatory balcony and deck inspections required across the state. This is a state law mandated for all buildings with 3 or more units. So if you have exterior elevated elements, such as balconies, walkways, decks, catwalks, porches, anything like that, that are at least 6 feet above the ground, they do have to get inspected. And keep in mind, this was passed in 2019. So the deadline is quickly approaching. So alrighty. Hopefully everybody can see this. So I will begin. Again, this is our contact info, our website, phone number, email, if you have any balcony questions. And of course, our other divisions, Retrofit 1 and ADU 1, also serving multifamily properties for accessory dwelling units and seismic retrofitting. You can seismic retrofit and do an ADU at the same time. And we throw in a lot of perks if you have balconies that need inspections as well. So, okay, as mentioned, these laws took effect in 2019. So it's already been several years. So a lot of people hear the every 6-year thing and they think that it just got passed. But no, we're already on year 4 at this point. So it affects all buildings with 3 or more units with elevated exterior elements such as a balcony that you see here that protrude out of the building and at least are 6 feet or higher from the ground. So basically, what do you have to do if your building is a wood frame building, or even if it isn't? I think it doesn't matter. I might be mixing seismic retrofitting requirements, but I think it is wood frame exterior elevated elements. And so even if it's covered with stucco, usually there may still be wood rim joists, stuff like that, and framing for the building. So basically what you have to do, give us a call, or of course anyone you like, but hopefully we're one of them, to get a quote. We offer free quotes. We do a walkthrough first because your quote is based on, of course, however many elements that you have. And I'll get into that a little bit on how we calculate the elements. Make sure that the company has a correct license. There are certain requirements with who can do these inspections, a little different between SB 721 and SB 326. But basically make sure they're certain engineers, architects, and contractors are able to do it. Once you feel confident and comfortable, again, hopefully with us, we do the inspection. Depending on the size of your building, it could take anywhere from a couple of hours to a few days if you have a huge like HOA community, for example. And then within the allotted time, the required time, we provide you with the detailed report that has all of the findings for all of the elements that we inspected. And that report is what you have to keep for at least 2 inspection cycles, basically. So the difference between SB 721 and SB 326. SB 721 applies to apartment buildings. So landlords, property owners with apartments that have 3 or more units. And one of the biggest differences here is that only 15% of each type of element must get inspected. So let's say you have a certain number of balconies, a certain linear feet of walkways, couple of decks. 15% of each one has to get inspected. And the way we calculate the walkways, if in case you have very long catwalks or walkways or something like that, we break it up by linear feet to count a certain amount as its own element. And that is how we base the quote for you. And these inspections are required every 6 years. So the first deadline is January 1st, 2025. So honestly, that only leaves this year, 2023, for what I would call the more comfortable way to get it done. You won't have to wait too long. You're going to get better prices if you do it now, because come 2024, that's your last year to do it. And again, this affects almost every single building in California if you have over 3 units. So everybody, I'm sure, procrastinators are going to be doing it in 2024. And there's only, so many of us who are experienced, knowledgeable, and licensed to be able to do these inspections for you. And imagine if you need repairs too, especially after all of these rains. So I really highly recommend to do it sooner than later, because everybody's going to be rushing for it next year. You may have to be on a very long wait list. Prices are only going to go up when there's so much demand and very little supply of knowledgeable companies that can do this for you. With SB326, this applies to, condos and HOAs, again, with 3 or more units. So normally these properties typically are, could be very, or much larger, more of like a complex community. And in this case, because they're condos, which are individually owned, basically all elements have to get inspected. So whereas 721 was the 15%, in this case, the law requires 95% certainty. So we basically inspect every single element there. Again, they're individually owned. Everybody has to get them inspected if you're a condo owner. And in this case, the inspections are required every 9 years. So at least you have some buffer there, since you have to get every single one inspected. However, the first deadline is still the same. And imagine now, if you are a condo owner, these are the buildings that, have hundreds of units that we work with. So those especially, I highly recommend, if you're an HOA or a condo owner, get your quote now, get started now. Otherwise, I don't know how you're going to be able to do it come next year, when literally hundreds of thousands of units are going to need to get this done. So I'll go over it again, the steps. We come in to do your element count. Our technician counts all of your exterior elevated elements. We measure the linear feet of walkways. We take photos, videos, whatever's needed. We also make a visual note of any damage that we can already see right away. So that way we know, like, those will be in more dire need if we see any water damage, dry rot, anything like that. We prepare the free quote for you. We send it over. Again, it's based off of the number of elements and linear feet of walkways. And then when you're ready to go, we will get everything done. We will start your inspection. We get that scheduled. We take care of all tenant or resident notifications, communication. We post notices, far in advance before we let them know that we're going to be on site. Depending on the size of your building and number of stories, we usually will need access to the unit in order to see the decking and the top part of your balconies or decks. So if we do need access to the units, we coordinate with any tenant or resident that's affected. And again, it could take anywhere from a couple of hours to a week, I would say, for our much larger communities that we work with, talking about hundreds of elements and units. And once everything's completed, we provide you with a full detailed report from the inspection, which is done, again, between our GC and our engineers. So everything is in there according to state law, and photos as well, because we do, I wonder if that's in here. Well, sure, I'll just keep going. There will be, of course, the details about what we inspected, our recommendations, expected future performance, any high-risk elements. And of course, we let you know if you hear that again, that's our company mascot, Diva the cat. She just wants to be in the presentation. But again, if we do find any significant issues or damage or high risk to the tenant or resident, of course we make it known, and we that's going to be reflected in your report. And depending on the level of risk, you of course have to get that repaired within a certain time frame. And if that's the issue, we do give you a separate quote, and you're obviously able to get quotes from whomever you'd like to repair whatever element is needed. If you do not have any risk, just keep your report for a minimum of 2 cycles. You still have to do it every 6 or 9 years regardless, but you have to keep those reports every 2 cycles. First deadline is January 1st. And let's see, 6 to 12 months process. I'm not sure why I wrote that, but I'll come back. Sorry, again, I'm a little under the weather, so I'm not my sharpest right now. But what I did want to get into regarding what's in your report and basically what's in the inspection, and I think I can just do a whole separate webinar on this. So what we do is in terms of the inspection, and you know what, because I think this is done. We remove. Basically, the inspection is a mix of visual inspections. We walk around, we have trained professionals and technicians that do this. And I'm not sure if everybody knows, but one of our kind of originating divisions for One Structural was Repipe One Restoration. We were a water damage restoration company, only serving, again, multifamily properties, HOAs, very large communities for water damage, flooding, leaks, slab leaks, stuff like that, as well as full reconstruction to these units after all of this damage. So we have extensive knowledge in water damage, leaks, and what it does to structural elements of your building. So within our inspection, we do visuals of just what we can see on the outside, exterior, and then we also do kind of minimally invasive testing as well, which is done with drilling boreholes on the underside of these elements. We put endoscopic cameras inside, moisture detectors, stuff like that, to really get in and see what's inside. And you'd be shocked that even if things look, okay or average on the outside, you can really see the damage on the inside. Sometimes we use infrared technology, everything like that, to see just what's going on inside. And that also gives you peace of mind too. So you know that at least with us, we're not just going to tell you, oh, 4 of your balconies have damage and you need to get them repaired and give you a quote. You're going to visually see what we saw, and we can show you a comparison to what a healthy, balcony or deck and certain structural components look like versus whatever element does need a repair. So you would absolutely be able to see the difference, see the damage, and you can always get it compared with another company if you'd like. But just to give you peace of mind, that's always included in your report. So again, we will do visual, we will do the minimally invasive testing. That borehole is covered up with a fire resistant, I think like grommet or like metal vent, to be covered up, which can then of course be used for your subsequent inspections as well. So that is basically what the inspections entail. And if you need repairs, again, that's another step done after, but it will be based on the evidence that you will be able to see. And yeah, just keep your report for 2 cycles, and that's all you have to do. If no repairs are needed, you're done. You get the inspection over with, and you can rest easy for the next several years. So again, I highly recommend do it this year, because you don't want to be stuck procrastinating in 2024 with literally the hundreds of thousands of units and buildings that have to do this. So give us a call, 323-BALCONY, balcony1.com. And honestly, again, we're all one company. We're all the same people that handle these divisions and can help you with whatever needs you have. So thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, either put it in the chat or give us a call and email us, and we will be glad to help you. And again, we offer free walkthroughs and quotes. So thank you so much. I'm Helen with One Structural, and this was our Balcony One Division webinar. Happy March, and I will see you guys later. Bye.